Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are being a rank boy, and we're doing our power rankings. We are here for week number 4 already. It's kind of wild. We're here in week 4 of stage 1. So, this week we did see a couple days where there was only 3 games played instead of 4. Next week it's even more wild. But before we start that, look at the background change. Yay. I sort of switched things around. I moved my dresser here, my TV over there. You know, it's for when I'm an epic gamer. Have my epic gamer moments at 2 in the morning, you know, playing Overwatch, getting those dank losses, or, you know, playing Minecraft as all the kids do. So, you know, that's what we do now around here. But to start our power rankings this week, big shocker, the Los Angeles Valiant lost. Not really surprised. The Valiant, the thing is, they have such a good roster, but they haven't been able to win, even up against teams like Houston. So, to start our rankings, we're going to start with that roster, the Los Angeles Valiant, who, fun fact, have been last still. So, start with the Valiant. They haven't changed. The Valiant are 0-7. A differential of -9. Oh, I forgot to go on Twitter and see if there was a thing to show who was in and who was out. Since the website doesn't show who's eliminated from the stage playoffs, which is a big pogger. I know somebody's going to tweet it out. Where to find it? Because there's one that should say who's eliminated. I know it was those dudes. What's this? Alright, I don't know. There's nothing here. Well, we do know a couple teams that are out. I hate when I forget one thing. It's so toxic. Okay. We know the bottom teams are out. The Valiant, Justice, Mayhem, Hunters. I believe Dragon, Spark, and Gliders are out as well. I don't know if that's wrong, but I believe that is correct. Well, let's see. The Gliders, Spark, and Dragons are out because they've all played 7 games. The Valiant played 7 games and they're 0-7. Justice are 0-5, so they're out. Mayhem are 1-5, they're out. Hunters are 2-4. 6 games, they can't obviously get 3-3, or they can't get up there because the next team is 3-3 in front of them already. The best they can do is 3-4, which is obviously worse. So I think it's those teams. The teams that are locked in: New York, Vancouver, and Toronto. Those teams are going into the stage playoffs. So, as we talked about that, the Valiant 0-7, a differential of -9. We're going to take a look here at how the Valiant did this week. First of all, they played against the Philadelphia Fusion. They lost 3-2. Philadelphia took Nepal and Mbani. The Valiant came back, won Temple of Anubis and Route 66, then lost on Busan. Very close there for them. Then the Valiant took on the Outlaws. A match that I thought the Valiant would win, but they didn't. The Outlaws took Busan. The Valiant took Mbani. They tied on Volskaya. That one I was watching. The Valiant should have won that map. They definitely had the better play there. And then Houston won on Route 66. The thing about this is the Valiant started this whole thing that kind of became a meme. But they started this whole thing sort of going along with what some football teams, some basketball teams are like, oh, our fans are this number. You know, they give their fans a number. They retire a number for their fans or something. You know, I know Seattle has that. The Seahawks, they have 12. I know there's one other, I think there's a basketball team that does it as well. They have a number or something retired for fans. So the Valiant are like, oh, we're going to do this, and we're going to call our fans 7s because there's 6 players on a team, and they're the 7th person on our team, or some trash like that. So it became a meme, because the Valiant actually retired the number 7. No player in the Valiant can ever wear that number now. But kind of became a meme, because their whole thing is we are 7, and then it became a meme, we are 0-7, because they're terrible. I'm like, I see you Valiant Twitter people they put out this whole garbage video at the beginning of the season with all these crazy Valiant fans. You know, had your those, I don't even know, wild people on their live streams with their Valiant flags in the background, and they're going in. They're like, yeah, we're Valiant fans. We're 7, and then now you're 0-7. All right. The next team up, the Washington Justice, who are going to be 0-7 as well. They're 0-5 right now, map differential of -11. They're also staying where they are in 19th. Now, you could argue that the Justice are worse than the Valiant, and I'd agree with you. But the Valiant have lost 7 games and should be ranked high. They shouldn't be 0-7. The Justice have lost 5 games, and you expected them to be bad. So, the Valiant are ranked lower because they're supposed to be ranked higher. Logic. This week, the Washington Justice took on only one team. They took on the Seoul Dynasty, where the Justice lost 3-1. Seoul took Busan, Hollywood, and Temple of Anubis. Washington Justice took Dorado. We're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about this match when we come back to Seoul, when they get ranked. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. All right, the next team up. Another big shocker down here in our power rankings. The number 18 team, the Florida Mayhem. They're 1-5, map differential of -11. They're also out of the stage playoffs. Not really surprised. They were pretty bad last year. They were down there with the Dragons and the Fuel and the Shock all season. They're the only ones that haven't gone up from that. So the Mayhem, we like to call them around here the Florida Trash Hem. Just started that one. They played the Boston Uprising, and they got 4-0'd. It's become normal around here to discuss Florida getting 4-0'd. I feel like I've done it since February last year when I started doing power rankings. But Florida lost on Busan, Nabani, Horizon Lunar Colony, and Dorado. Pretty simple. You know, your standard Mayhem 4-0. Nothing too flashy. Just, you know, a casual L here and there. And now we come up to the next team. This team, how do we discuss this team? You know, this team's a real Lameme. Alright, we're going to discuss Lameme's favorite team here, the Chengdu Hunters. They are down 3 spots. This team I had ranked at like 6 2 weeks ago. They've just been falling. The Chengdu Hunters down 3 spots this week in our power rankings. They're number 17. They're 2-4, map differential of -9. They are out of the stage playoffs as well. The Chengdu Hunters, I don't even know what happened. They had like such a good couple games there. Once they got their Wrecking Ball Specialist, or whatever the hell that was, it was just a downhill slide from then on. Now, I will say, this week the came up against a very rough patch, taking on Toronto and Vancouver, the second and third teams in the standings. So, you can say that they had a rough matchup. But we're actually going to talk about Chengdu and Vancouver in a moment. So, Toronto and Chengdu, 2 expansion teams. The Hunters lost on Ilios in Kings Row. They did take Volskaya, one of, you know, the better maps to play in Overwatch, one of the 2 good maps in the game. The Hunters did take that. And then we see Route 66, where they dropped that map. Not a surprise. Route 66 is a terrible map to play on. I wouldn't win there either if I played Overwatch. And then we go to the match with Vancouver. Now, they were the first team to, I think, push Vancouver to 5 maps. I was very surprised. I actually had this on because I was playing Minecraft with Lameme. It's just wild bringing up Minecraft on this channel. I was playing Minecraft with Lameme, and, you know, I had the game on because I was making my power rankings, and, you know, I'm sitting here and I'm like, alright, there's no way that the Hunters even come close to Vancouver. They're going to get 4-0'd. I'm like, the Hunters got 4-0 by 2 other teams. It's going to be easy. And I had my computer pulled up, and I had the stream running. And I just seen it, and I looked down. It's like, all right, Vancouver's up 1-0. I didn't really watch the second match. And the meme's like, it's tied. And I'm like, how? So they had halftime. And then, we're playing just, here. And I look down, and it's 2-1 Chengdu. And I'm like, hello? What is happening? And then the Titans win Route 66 barely. And I'm just like, whoa. And then they go to Nepal, and the Titans win. But I'm just like, what is happening? So Chengdu played pretty well against Vancouver, I will say that. But an L is still an L. You take 2, you fall down the list. So the Hunters lost Ilios, won Hollywood, won Temple of Anubis, lost Route 66, and then lost on Nepal. All right, the next team up in our list here, we have the Guangzhou Charge. I don't know how they fell down so far in my power rankings. They were kind of like 14th, and then the Outlaws and Uprising and Gladiators all played better. I don't know. The Charge are 8th in the standings, but somehow I have them ranked 16th. I even get confused by my own power rankings, guys. Alright, the Charge are 16th. Okay. Down 2 spots. Again, it's so hard to, rank, because I feel like there's so many teams above them that are better. But I also feel like they're not bad. I feel like the Outlaws had a better week. The Dragons had a better week. The Uprising had a better week. Then we're getting into putting them up too high for what I feel like they should be. Because I feel like the Rain are still better even though they fell down. The Fusion fell down, but I still feel like they're better. Spitfire is still better. Dragons are better. Dynasty's better. Fuel's better. Shock's better. Defiant's better. Titans are better. Excelsior's better. The Charge fall to 16th. That's kind of how it works. Alright, the Guangzhou Charge are 8th in the standings. 3-3. Map differential of 3. They are 1 map ahead of Boston and Seoul here to be in the 8th seed going into the stage playoffs in a week from now. So, what did the Charge do this week? The Charge lost 3-1 to the Los Angeles Gladiators. They won on Nepal, and then lost on Kings Road, Temple of Anubis, and Rialto. What a week it was. Alright. Had to sip my water here. Alright, the next team up on our power rankings is the Hangzhou Spark. Again, the power rankings are collective. It's not just week to week. I mean, we do move them week to week, but you gotta factor in previous weeks. Because I looked up here and I got the Dragons pretty high up, and they're pretty bad in the standings, but they were high up before. Just keep climbing up. Alright. So the Spark, they've had a really big fall since week 1 when I ranked them the 3rd best team. In the league, they've fallen down to 15th. It seems like whatever team I rank in 3rd has a terrible week next. So good thing if you're a Toronto Defiant fan that you don't have a game next week. I'm just going to say that right now. Because week 1 we had the Spark. They did terrible the next week. Then we had Seoul Dynasty, week 2. They did terrible the next week. Then this week we had Atlanta Reign, week 3. They did terrible this week. So, it seems like whatever team I rank 3rd, just do's bad. Do's bad? Do's bad? Do's bad? This happens when you talk too fast, and that's what I do. They fell down. So the Spark, 3-4 map differential of -4. They are out of the stage playoffs because they played 7 games. Hangzhou this week, they took on the Toronto Defiant to end their stage, and they lost Nepal and Kings Row, tying on Volskaya given the win to Defiant in the series, and then the Defiant went on and won Rialto. So, pretty standard week there, or pretty standard game, nothing really crazy happened. Alright, next team up is the Houston Outlaws. I was disappointed when they won, but the Houston Outlaws are 11th in the standings, and they are up 2 spots to 14th in our power rankings here. Houston's 3-3, map differential of -1. Houston this week, they beat the Los Angeles Valiant 2-1, winning Busan and Nambani tying on Volskaya and then taking Route 66. I really thought the Valiant were going to win Route 66, but the Outlaws ended up getting really far. Farther than I thought they would. Alright, the next team up in our power rankings is the Boston Uprising. They're also up 2 spots to 13th. And Boston is also 3-3, map differential of 2. They are only 1 map different from Guangzhou Charge for the 8th spot. And they're also tied with Seoul Dynasty for map differential. But as you remember, a couple weeks ago, or if you remember, I should not say you remember. If you remember a couple weeks ago, Boston beat Seoul. That has them above them, even though they have the state map differential. Head-to-head record does count. So the Uprising are 9th. They, again, are 13th in our power rankings here. And Boston took on the Florida Mayhem. 4-0'd them, winning Busan, Nambani, Horizon, and Dorado. Alright. Next team up. Los Angeles Gladiators. Up 5. The Gladiators are 13th overall. 12th here in our power rankings. Gladiators are eliminated from stage playoff potential. I figured they would be. They lost Fisher. What are you going to do now? The Gladiators are 3-4. Overall map differential of 1. Also map differential of out of the playoffs. The Los Angeles Gladiators took on the Atlanta Reign first. 4-0 against them. Busan, Kings Road, Temple of Anubis, and Rialto. All maps won by the Gladiators. Then the Gladiators took on the Charge, where they also got a win. Losing on Nepal and the winning Kings Road, Temple of Anubis, and Rialto. But that was not enough to move them up in these standings after they were 1-4 to start the week, ending 3-4. Seems impressive, but they're not going to move up any further, obviously. The next team is a team that they beat. The Atlanta Reign. They're 6th overall in the standings. They're 11th here in our power rankings, down 8. So, Atlanta. Again, we just talked about Atlanta. They took on the Gladiators and took a big drop in our power rankings with that L. Losing Busan, Kings Road, Temple of Anubis, and Rialto. Not a good showing for the Atlanta Reign. They still have 2 games to play next week. Alright, so now that we're halfway through our power rankings, we're moving through pretty quickly this week. The first teams here we're going to go back through. 20th, Los Angeles Valiant. 19th, Washington Justice. 18th, Florida Mayhem. 17th, Chengdu Hunters. 16th, Guangzhou Charge. 15, Hangzhou Spark. 14, Houston Outlaws. 13, Boston Uprising. 12, Los Angeles Gladiators. 11, Atlanta Reign. That's where we're at. Alright, number 10 on our power rankings, the Philadelphia Fusion. They're down 2 spots, even though they won. Don't ask me how it works. The Philadelphia Fusion are 4th overall in the standings. They're 4-2, map differential of 3. The Philadelphia Fusion barely beat the Los Angeles Valiant this week and moved down on our power rankings. Again, there's teams that are better than them above them. Let's not discuss it too much. Winning Nepal and Nimbani, losing Temple of Anubis in Route 66, and then winning Busan. You lose in the power rankings if you barely beat the worst team in the league, record-wise. Philadelphia has 1 more game next week as well. Alright, next up is the Paris Eternal. They're down 3. They've been pogging it up since they were 2-1. They have fallen to 2-3. They are 16th overall in the standings, but I feel like they should be higher in the power rankings eventually. Or higher in the standings eventually. They got some games coming up they can win. They have played 5 games this season. They're at a differential of -7. Hopefully they can, not come up against some wild opponents like this week. They took on Vancouver and San Francisco. So first of Paris playing Vancouver. Vancouver 4-0, then winning Ilios, Nambani, Horizon, and Rialto. Second 4-0 the Paris suffered on a row. Really, really hurting that map differential and chance to get into the playoffs. For the stage, obviously, the season playoffs we'll talk about later. That will really start becoming interesting, so we'll discuss week 1 of the stage 2. All right. We look here at Paris against San Francisco. They lost on Nepal, Hollywood, and Horizon, and then took Dorado. A lot of these teams, you should just get that clean 4 if you can. It's really, really hard to get this map differential, and if you win 3-1, you get 2 points for your map differential. If you win 4-0, you get 4. So, a big difference. We'll be talking about map differential in just a couple minutes and how important it is when we get to Seoul Dynasty here. Before Seoul Dynasty, we have the London Spitfire. They're down 4. London became the 3rd team ever to lose to Shanghai Dragons and the first all-Korean roster to lose to Shanghai. Shanghai won on Nepal. London won Nepal. Shanghai won Kings Row. London came back, won Temple of Anubis, and then lost on Route 66 and on Ilios. So the first all-Korean team to ever lose to Shanghai Dragons. Mega Poggers. That's the only team that Spitfire took on. Again, Shanghai's not a bad team anymore, but it's still just like the first time Shanghai's beating some of these teams. Because the teams they ever beat were, they beat Boston, their first win. They beat Chengdu, second win. They beat London. So each one of those matches have been a first for something. Beat Boston, the first team they ever beat. Chengdu was the first team they ever 4-0'd, and then London's the first all-Korean team they ever beat. So very interesting with their first for a lot of these. And every team they play against with their first win against that team, besides London, Boston, and Chengdu from here on out. All right, next up is the Shanghai Dragons, who were up 3 spots to 7. We're wilding out here, as the kids say. London, Shanghai's 15th overall here. They are eliminated from the stage playoffs, but getting eliminated from the stage playoffs doesn't necessarily hurt your power ranking standings. Shanghai, a 3-4, map differential of -4. Shanghai, did they only play? No, they played 2 teams this week. They lost to Dallas Fuel for the 2nd time in a row. The weird thing was Dallas was the team I was super, super confident they'd beat when I predicted a couple weeks ago. All right, Shanghai's going to beat these teams. I said Boston and Chengdu as well, but I said Dallas is going to be that win that's definitely guaranteed, and that's the team they lost to twice. So they lost to Dallas here, 4-0 this time. Last time they lost 3-2. They got 4-0'd, losing Nepal, Hollywood, Temple of Anubis, and Route 66. But Shanghai came back to get that 3-2 victory we just talked about over London. Losing Nepal, winning Kings Row, losing Temple of Anubis, and then coming back and winning Route 66 and Ilios. Shanghai definitely should be up higher in the standings coming to the next stage. All right, the next team in our power rankings here is the Seoul Dynasty. They're up 5 from being 11th, I guess. Seoul Dynasty played 1 team this week. They are 10th in our standings here. They're 3-3, one of the couple teams left in contention towards the bottom here. In the power rankings, or in the standings, they have a differential of 2. They had a differential of 0 coming into the week, and that is where getting that 4-0 victory is key. Now, a lot of people figured Seoul Dynasty is playing Washington. Easy win, which it was. It wasn't really a hard-fought win for Seoul. The only team they played this week was Washington as well. I should point that out. So they won out. Busan, Hollywood, Temple of Anubis beat them pretty easy. Then we go to Dorado. Seoul Dynasty lost Dorado. Now, it may not seem like a big deal, but this is where map differential really comes in, and this is a key factor in map differential as we talk about that every single week. And this is a key example of map differential. So Seoul Dynasty came with a map differential of 0, like I said. They were, 13th or 14th. They moved it to 10th, right? Differential of 2 now because they won 2 maps, lost 1, so, 1 gets canceled out. If they got the 4-0, they'd be sitting 8th in the standings right now. Which, isn't really that much of a cushion, but still. They'd be sitting at 8th because they'd be 4. Because right now they're below Boston, who beat them, and they're below Guangzhou, who has 1 more map than them. So just by losing that, and I talk about it all the time, San Francisco dropped a map to, we can go back and look, somebody they shouldn't drop a map to that they did. Paris, if you're going to win, get that 4-0, because right now, San Francisco, they're not differential a little better. They're at 5, but they could potentially drop out because of that. They could be sitting at differential of 7, and they would be way up higher. They'd be like 4th, instead of being tied for 6th with Atlanta, who still has 2 games to play. Map differential-wise would hide with them. So that's the thing. It's so important, that differential, that these games that you should win 4-0, if you win them 3-1, like we've seen here with Seoul, winning 3-1 was not nearly as good as that, getting that 4-0, because they would be at differential of 4 right now. So things like that are really, really key when it breaks all this down. Who gets in the stage playoffs, and ultimately at the end of the season, who gets into the playoffs, because there's so many teams that are similar records, like we see here. So many teams are 3-3. Guangzhou, Boston, Seoul, Houston, and London. And instead of being in the middle of that, they would be at the top of that. So something like that's very, very key. And ultimately, we'll see how that plays out next week. We're going to talk about those games in a couple minutes. What's coming up, what's going to be key to watch this week. And also we'll talk about what teams have played 7 games and are not playing next week. So, up next, in 5th, last week, this team was in 7th, and the team liked that they were in 7th in my power rankings. A lot of the fans liked that they were 7th power rankings. I got some tweets about this. Dallas Fuel, up 2 spots to 5th. Dallas is one of those teams that I put higher than a lot of people did. There's one of the analysts in Overwatch that did have them up at 7 as well. Or he had them at 6. I think it was reinforced. He had them at 6. But most people didn't have Dallas as high as I did and he did. He was the only person I know. I'm sure there's other people out there that did. But people that I know, myself, and watching on Overwatch, I think most people didn't have him Dallas that high. But I did. I feel like they have played well. So right now Dallas is at 4-2. Differential of 1. And let's see what Dallas did this week. I believe they only played 1 game. They did. It was on Friday against Shanghai. We talked about this a minute ago. Winning Nepal, Hollywood, Temple Honeybees, and Route 66. Getting those 4 wins. Very, very key. That 4-0 to Dallas Fuel. Or Dallas Fuel against Shanghai. Alright, coming in 4th is the San Francisco Shock. They're up 5. The Shock right now are 4-3. Differential of 5. They're sitting at 6th in the standings. The Shock this week got 4-0'd and should have got a 4-0. The Shock took on the New York Excelsior, where New York 4-0'd them, winning Busan, or we should say got 4-0'd, losing Busan, Nambani, Volskaya in a 6-5 match and Dorado. That was kind of wild. And then we see in San Francisco take on Paris, where they won 3-1, winning Nepal, Hollywood, and Horizon, and then dropping Dorado. So again, those map differentials really, really key. Alright, so now from here on out, the power rankings are reflective of the standings. The top 3 teams in the standings are top 3 in my power rankings. The only 3 teams locked into the stage of playoffs come next week. Or come the end of next week. These 2 teams are already in. 3 teams. Toronto, Vancouver, and New York. Toronto, though, is 3rd in the standings and 3rd in our power rankings. They are up 2 spots. Toronto, 2-5. They played 7 games. They're locked in. Whether or not they fall up or down, or fall down, they could potentially, or they can't go up, because Vancouver can only lose 1 game. But they could fall down a couple spots, depending on Philadelphia win. If Philadelphia or Dallas win have better differential, they could fall down, but Toronto cannot fall out. So Toronto right now, 5-2, differential of 5. Philadelphia has a differential of 3. So Philadelphia, if they could win, they could move up. Dallas, they have to get a 4-0. And we'll talk about who these teams are playing and all that stuff, how it could change. But Toronto, 5-2. Toronto this week took on the Chengdu Hunters and won 3-1, winning Ilios and Kings Row, dropping Volskaya, and then winning Route 66. We then see Toronto take on Hangzhou Spark. This is a week that I really got interested in Toronto. I knew they were sort of an all-Korean roster, but I really didn't follow them as much. Getting into peeping Toronto as well. You know how I feel about all-Korean rosters. New York, London, Seoul, Vancouver. Throw Toronto in there. Why not? Get the all-Korean squad boys lit it up. I don't know where I was going with that. All right. Toronto won Nepal, Kings Road, Tideville Sky, and won Rialto against the Spark. And up next, probably my third favorite team to watch in Overwatch League, obviously behind Seoul Dynasty and New York Excelsior, is the Vancouver Titans. They're up. Well, they're not up in a power rankings. They're still second. Staying where they're at. 6-0 on the season. They're 20-6 total for their map differential. I don't ever say that, but I don't know why I did this time. And they have 14 map differential. So, Vancouver first took on Paris, got the easy 4-0. Increased that map differential, increased that, positioning in the standings. Ilios, Numbani, Horizon, Lunar Colony, and Rialto. Then we come to the first 10 they ever went to 5 maps, unless they went against Guangzhou earlier. I don't know. I know Guangzhou gave them a tough time. Yeah, they did go to 5 maps before against Guangzhou. Okay. But one of the first times they had kind of a wild match. So the second time, against the Chengdu Hunters. I did not expect the Hunters to do this well against them. I thought it was going to be 4-0. I tweeted it out. Go peep. But they won Ilios, dropped Hollywood and Temple Anubis, and then came back and won Route 66 in Nepal. We talked about earlier when we talked about the Hunters playing against them, how wild that was. And, my reaction to watching it at the same time that Lamine was. Earlier in the video, go peep that if you somehow missed that. Alright. But the New York Excelsior, they're 7-0. The second team ever to go undefeated in a stage. Boston Uprising stage 3 last year. They went 10-0. I don't really know if you compare 7-0 to 10-0, but I guess the way that it's restricted to, I guess it's the same. That's the third best finish ever to a stage. Only behind themselves, 9-1 last year a couple times, and the 10-0. 7-0, very, very impressive. We'll see if Vancouver joins them, which we'll talk about in a minute. The Excelsior, though, are 16 for the map differential, and they won their division for the stage playoffs. And obviously they're locked in along with Vancouver and Toronto. New York only had one game this week. That was against the San Francisco Shock. They got that 4-0 win, winning Busan, Numbani, Sky, and Dorado. Again, they didn't move up because they've always been first. Alright, so this week's power rankings seem like they're a little bit faster. There's 2 less games to go over. And overall, we kind of streamlined a lot of things we talked about the last couple weeks, figuring out and talking about everything for like an hour. So, we streamlined it, get back down to about the, right now we're at 33 minutes, we'll probably be at about 40 minutes when we're done. Get back down to 30, 40 minutes like we were back last year. So, the matchups this week. There's a couple teams not playing. First, let's talk about that. New York, 7-0, they're done. Toronto Defiant, 5-2, they're done. Both those teams are locked in. San Francisco, 4-3, they're done. Played 7 games. Still in the stage of we'll see how that works out, which we'll discuss in a minute. Los Angeles Gladiators, Hangzhou Spark, Shanghai Dragons, all 3-4, 7 games, they're done. Los Angeles Dragon, 0-7, they're done. Also eliminated is Florida and Washington. So, we'll take a look at this now. So we have Washington and Paris. Paris is the only team really far down in the standings that can move up. Paris is 16th. They're 2-3, so they can potentially go up to 4-3. But a loss against Washington, which I doubt they'll lose against Washington. But they also got to play Philadelphia. So I feel like we'll see Paris drop out. Because they'll probably go 1-1 next week. And obviously going 3-4 will not get you in. So there's that. We already said Chengdu 100. They're also out. Chengdu, let's discuss that. 2-4. The best they can go is 3-4. So their game next week doesn't really matter. For stage playoffs, again, all the games these teams play do matter for the end of the season. But if you want to get in the stage playoffs, which we're discussing right now. So Los Angeles Gladiators, Hangzhou Sparks, Shanghai Dragons, Chengdu Hunters, Florida Mayhem, Washington Justice, and Los Angeles Lightning are all out. So now we come to the really interesting area. First, let's discuss, though, the teams that are in the stage playoffs. New York, Vancouver, and Toronto. They're all in. Philadelphia's 4-2. Feel if they're going to beat Paris, they'll be in. Depending on how much they win by, would affect this here. Because Paris, they only need to have 2 maps to tie with Toronto. And I don't know what the tiebreaker breakdown of that is. Then we have Dallas Fuel. They're 4-2. Dallas plays Boston. That should be an interesting matchup. I feel like Dallas is going to win that. Move up to 5-2 as well. If they don't get the 4-0, though, they will not move up. Because they need to get that to tie Toronto. Atlanta's 3-2. They have 2 games next week. Chengdu and Houston, both winnable. Chengdu, obviously, we know it's really far down the rankings. I don't ever have a high thoughts about Houston. So I think that Atlanta can get the 2 wins they need next week to also stay in the playoffs. So right now, that means New York, Vancouver, Toronto are all in. And I believe Philadelphia, Dallas, and Atlanta are going to be in. That leaves San Francisco, Guangzhou, and I said, who's Boston play? Dallas. So we're going to take Boston out because I feel like they're going to lose. So San Francisco, Guangzhou, Seoul. I said Houston losing, didn't I? I said Houston's playing Atlanta, right? So we're going to take out Boston and Houston. San Francisco, Guangzhou, Seoul, and London. That's where it gets interesting. San Francisco cannot play a game because they have 7 games played. They're 4-3. Who does Guangzhou play? Guangzhou plays Vancouver. That's most likely a loss for Guangzhou. That puts them at 3-4. Drop them out. So then it comes down to Seoul and London. And actually by default, San Francisco would get in. So remove San Francisco in. Then it comes down to Seoul and London. Which, I mean, again, this is just one scenario that I've thought would be the most likely one. Again, Boston can win. Houston can win. Guangzhou could win and move this all up. But this is my thoughts on how this will happen. Guangzhou will lose to Vancouver. And then Atlanta will beat Boston. Dallas will beat Boston. Atlanta will beat Houston. Then we get to Seoul and London. Both teams are 3-3. Seoul has the better map differential of 2. But, again, Boston, I'm going to say is 3-4. Guangzhou, I'm going to say is 3-4. Houston, I'm going to say is 3-4. Okay? That means that Seoul and London play. Differentials don't matter. It's head-to-head. Seoul, 3-3. London, 3-3. Now, historically, Seoul has never beat London. So, logically thinking, you'd say London would win. They are playing Nepal, Hollywood, Temple Anubis, and Route 66. Now, personal opinion here. I'm gonna lean towards Seoul Dynasty. But from a 100% unbiased opinion, I'm going with Seoul Dynasty. You know what? I was gonna hit something wild, but I feel like Seoul Dynasty, all I have to do is win maps. Like, let's not throw the sort of wild roster. Just put Fisher in, put in the good players. Get this dub. London doesn't look as strong as they did last year. Seoul looks better than it did last year. Let's get this ace spot. Honestly, that was going to be very, very close. I could see this going to map 5. Nepal, Hollywood, Temple Anubis, and Route 66. I think we may see another control map in there. So, with that would put the teams that I believe into the stage playoffs being New York, Vancouver, Toronto, Philadelphia, Dallas, Atlanta, San Francisco, and Seoul. I don't know the exact order, but that's just my prediction there. So, games to watch next week. Let's talk about that. Obviously, the big one here being London and Seoul, 4:30, March 16th, 4:30 Eastern Time. Boston, Dallas. Again, Dallas gets that win, knocks Boston out. Again, this also comes down to Atlanta winning their 2 games. So, I'd say London, Seoul, watch that. Boston, Dallas, watch that. Honestly, Atlanta, trying to watch that. The next day, first time ever I'm going to say this, Houston, Atlanta, watch that. Those are the games. London, Seoul, Boston, Dallas, Atlanta, trying to do on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Houston and Atlanta. That's the key game to watch there, which will ultimately affect this. Again, this is just going by the one scenario that I've thought of. There's like 50 million different scenarios. But that's the one that I've kind of thought will happen based on my predictions here. So, make sure you guys check out the video on Saturday where we predict the matchups for Saturday. And we'll see sort of what happens. That's a new series we started over there. Where we sort of just, do my predictions. I've been tweeting them out for most of the season. I figured, why don't we have a video where I discuss it? So we'll have those predictions. And, yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow? We do have some videos scheduled for this week, so make sure to check it out. We got some interesting things coming up. But Saturday, definitely make sure you guys check out the predictions there. We'll be back next Monday for Power Rankings from Stage 1, Week 5. And, yeah, that's going to be good. And then we'll break down the stage playoffs, and then we'll have another video for that. There's a bunch of things. I don't know how it's going to work. I guess the way the stage playoffs work is they play March 21st to the 24th. I guess, yeah. So it looks like March 21st, you have 2 teams. There's 2 games, so that's 4 teams. Whoever wins that will play on Saturday. And then Friday, same thing. 4 teams. The winners of that play Saturday. The winners on Saturday and play on Sunday. So it'll be very, very interesting. I'm excited to see how that works out. But until then, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.